Hello, welcome YouTube, welcome back. How's everybody doing? It's Skyber Expert Ian here. This is going to be our new playthrough that we're messing about on. We're playing on a Path of Exiles 2. We're right here at the beginning, we've just started. We're doing the new Way of the Hunt, I think is the update they brought out for it. Apparently they've added a lot of new skills, support gems. So yeah, it should be pretty fun. Looking forward to that. At the moment we went with the witch character, which I believe specialises in, you can take her down, you can use spells like the sorceress if you really want to, so you can sort of take her down that route of being a spellcaster. You can take her down the route of being, for anyone who's ever played Champions of Norath, it's a bit of an old game, but it's same sort of thing. If you remember the Dark Elf, spreading poison and disease, you know, that type of gameplay. Or if you're more of a Diablo player, if you play Diablos, I think Necromancer style gameplay, you can sort of take it down that route too if that's more your, or a combination of the above, depending on what your play style may be.
By the first ones, you're alive.
I am alive.
I'm glad to see another living soul. The miller went off to warn Clearfell about a strange sickness plaguing our men. I was fixing to go after him, till that bloody thing got to me first. Now, all those who drowned in the flooding, suddenly they ain't so dead no more. I would appreciate it if you could... Reach Clearfell.
Okay, so we've got us first.
Find
the dead rise again. Oh, I'm going to like it here.
Yeah, there's a primarily like a necromantic style of character, I suppose. Lots of dead for you to raise and fight in your armies. Yeah, beneficial. Okay, so we've got as basic, as most basic skill. Yeah, see, we are going to specialise in wands and sceptres. You can go wands, shields, like you can use any weapon, any combination of stuff, but she's mainly a magic user, usually attacking from a distance is what we're going to stick to. Sceptres give us spirit, which we're going to need because spirit is what you use to summon a lot of your permanent summons, the ones that automatically sort of respawn after a set period of time. If they die, you don't have to worry about re-summoning them like you do on Diablo. It's not like a constant, oh damn, I've got to spam that again. If you just wait, they will automatically pop back to life. A lot of the skills that we're going to be using later game, you require spirit for, so that's where scepters come in handy, because you get like a free extra 100 spirit just for having one equipped. Sometimes more, depending on rarity at scepter. So, like, you know, if you get a really good scepter, you get like different prefixes. Sometimes you might get lucky in that where it says spirit there, you might have like, I don't know, say 150% increase, so you get 150 spirit as opposed to just the 100. But for now, the basic one will do when we get 2 free skeletons. So, you know, these are your most basic skeletons. They're not that powerful. More than anything, they're more of a handy distraction for the mobs. Like, it gives the mobs something to target that isn't you. Like, see, while we're fighting, they keep those guys occupied. They're not very damaging to begin with, because, you know, basic and all that. Ooh. We don't really care about the evasion rating, but the until we can get something better for the basic HUD, the life regeneration's always nice.
This oozes.
On Earth, we like on Earth. This is it's not going to be one of his main skills, but early game it's a handy skill. Basically, you cast it. It does a little bit of damage to living creatures. It's mainly more handy for the dead creatures. You'll basically shoot a bunch of spikes over the floor, but if them spikes hit a dead body, it will resurrect. Sort of like a bone scorpion is the best way I can describe it. That'll run around and fight for you for a set period of time before dying. But if you have any skills that you need to sacrifice minions for, there's a couple of skills that come in handy, like you can sacrifice one of your minions in local vicinity to increase the damage of a skill, or to make all other minions do bonus damage for a small period of time. Rather than sacrificing one of your skeletons, if you've got a bunch of them little things around, you can sort of just use them for that purpose. And it'll come in handy with another skill, which we'll get to when we eventually get a skill gem in order to unlock two main skills we're going to be using for ad clearing. That sort of double whammies with one of those skills. But when we get to that part, I'll show you that. I'll explain what we're doing with that when we actually get to it. But yeah, for example, let's see, like these dead bodies here, look. There we go, look.
I just found my path to power.
They don't last very long, but you can summon quite a few of them, which comes in handy. We're going here. Bottom. Okay. Sorry, I had to check map. Me throat. I had to check map, then I'm getting a little bit turned around. See what I mean? How they disappeared there? Yeah, they die over time. See, like your skeletons, these like permanent minions, these will automatically recast. Ones like that, you have to use certain skills to raise them. But I think we got a scepter, so what we should be able to do, if we go over to skills, we've got 100 spare spirit, and these guys cost 60 per. As you get higher level skill gems, you can upgrade your skills, which I'll show you when we get to that. I'll remind you, but basically you'll reduce the spirit reservation cost, so you can eventually summon more and more. And obviously, not only do they get cheaper in terms of how much spirit it costs you, but as you get more spirit, so yeah, you will start to stack up how many you can summon. But we can summon an extra one for now, so let's do that. Like I said, I know they're not very damaging, but it's one more.
My first taste of true power.
It's one more creature that can take a hit, so we don't have to. Which is handy for this style of character we're gonna be building, because as a rule, the spellcaster type of characters on these games tend to be somewhat of glass cannons. If you've never heard that term, basically you can dish out a shit ton of damage. So you got like good damage output. You also can't take a lot of damage though as a rule. So thus, you know, glass cannon. You'll kick ass like a cannon, but like glass you will get broke pretty easily, so the more of these minions we can get scattered around to take shots for us and to distract the enemy, the more beneficial for us that's going to be. Better armor. Nah, I think I'll keep the life regeneration for the time being. Let's do a skill points before we go moving on. Right, so energy shield we'll grab later. I think we're going to focus we can do minion damage, which we're going to do a little bit because we will be using some minions. But I think we're going to focus more on chaos, which is essentially these poison damage on this as well. Chaos is sort of like a separate thing, but it's similar to poison. It's like a dot damage over time. So you'll do like an initial little bit of damage, and then obviously you'll have a effect that does, I don't know, say 5 damage per second, for example, for X amount of seconds. So it ticks away at the enemy's health, and these skills and support gems that will boost not only your initial damage, but the duration that tick damage goes on for, and how much tick damage is done. So I think that's what we're going to go for. We're going to go for a chaos damage build. But to get to that, we will pick up these on the way, because this is a spell and minion damage. So all as spells, all the chaos stuff will also do bonus damage, and so will all as minions, which is although these don't really do a lot of damage at the moment, they will start dishing out more damage as we go. Okay, first little boss fight, here we go.
I presume.
Nope. Oh, sugar. Skills. I forgot to assign something. We want... let's just set there for now. Where is it? Not interact. One of these is focus. There we go. That gives us the ability to... allows us to focus on a target, which... at the moment we want to sort of focus on the big guy, obviously. You can use your right analog stick to flick between targets, which we are going to turn that off for the moment. Ooh! Just because we can up his damage output in a minute by summoning. There we go. Summon some of those guys, and then we'll go back to focus mode. Nope. And there we go.
Impressive size, but little acuity. Dismal.
Right. We are going to pick all this up, because if nothing else, for the time being, we can just flog it. Okay. Well, we haven't got any body armor whatsoever at the moment, so we may as well equip that for the time being. We will be focusing more on, as we get more options, as we level up, we will start to focus more on a combination of armor and energy shield. Will be as main lines of defense.
Friendly's the name. Well, have no fear. This place is something of a hideaway for many of us now, and we could sorely use your skills in these dark times. I'll set for you what I can, if you're willing to bend your violence toward our defense.
Elegantly put. Bend
There's a particular dark
your
power
violence.
stalking us out in the Felling. It moves unseen under the dirt and attacks without warning. We can't leave the walls to find food, and I've been unable to corner and slay the beast myself.
Okay, so we'll sort that out for you.
If you could channel your violence against this devourer, as Finn calls it, we'd be indebted to you.
Okay.
A kind leader. Hopefully he survives.
We can do that.
Skeletal snipers do high damage but have low life. They can be commanded. Monsters that die while infected with
Contagion. This is his first poison chaos skill, so to speak. Yes, see, there we go. Like, there's 2 damage to begin with, like on the initial hit, but then it's an extra 2 damage per second, and it lasts for 5 seconds. But the good thing about Contagion is, if you kill an enemy that is currently infected with Contagion, it will then pass, that contagion will spread to other nearby enemies, and each time it spreads, it doubles its damage up to 3 times, so you get up to 300% increased damage with it. So it's okay against single targets, but it's much more of a crowd control deal. Like, you debuff one enemy, if there's a big group of them, you kill that one, it spreads to another 2, you kill them 2, it spreads again, and the damage just ramps up. It's really good for taking out lots of weaker enemies, basically, your ads, so to speak. You'll take out all the little ads. It's really useful for that. And this is what I was on about with the Unearth. After you kill an enemy, the corpse will sort of like a purple mist around it for a few seconds. If you use that to raise one of those little bone skeleton guys, like the scorpion dudes, if it gets raised out of an enemy that died with the contagion effect on it, if you raise it within a couple of seconds of that enemy dying, you'll get a scorpion that has the purple mist, and every time that scorpion stings an enemy, it will apply contagion for you, which allows you to spread it to more enemies faster. It's a good little combo. Those two together, not too shabby in early game. Right, we need to speak to Una?
Welcome to the camp of the lost, stranger. We survive, but we do not live. I am Una. All this began the night Count Gino took his most loyal men into the Grellwood. After he returned, a madness grew in him. Something happened out there. Please, I beg of you, travel into the forest and begin your search. There must be some clue as to what took place.
Okay.
I fear this land's sickness will only deepen unless we do something. All this began the night. I fear this.
Okay, we're going to repeat ourselves now. We want to. Disenchant items. Boom. You'll get crafting materials out of those, you see. Ah, no, wrong place. What are we doing, Ryan? You've got we've got specified storage for shit like that. Sell.
Feeling lucky? Sure. I'll take it off your hands. See you.
Thank you.
He's a devious one. I like him.
These are from other characters. Once that'd be pretty storage, but we will take them out because they'll come in handy. We're not high enough level to run most of them, but we'll see what we can use. Okay, 40% more skill effect duration. Yeah, we can use that on that. That'll make us scorpions last longer. What else have we got here? Seal. Oh, Unleash. I like this one. Basically, it stores up your abilities over time, and then as you cast it, it will sort of cast multiple of it. That's actually really handy to have, because it'll let us cast contagion on more than one enemy at a time. More cast speed, we'll take that on as basic skill for the time being. It's not rate damaging, I know, but it's at least a little bit extra. Spells deal 90% more damage, 30% more damage even if you want 90% maximum mana. We're almost always near maximum mana because we don't spam skills out. It's more hit them with one, let the poison take effect, so we'll have that. We can't really use any of those at the moment, so we'll put those back in storage. refillers, flasks,
Sorry,
and we will buy a couple of those. So we
Stay
can
safe
identify his
if you can.
items. Eventually we won't need to worry about that because eventually there will be a... Oh yeah, we'll equip those. Eventually there is oh, what do you call it? There's a character you sort of do something for that gives you the ability, like whenever you come back to this hub town, you will be able to identify items without the scrolls. But until you get to that stage, those scrolls are sort of your only way of identifying those red items, so you can equip them. So it's worth carrying a few. Even in later game, it's it comes in handy because it's like if you're running late game content, you're trying to do, you know, different missions and yada 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 yada, rather than having to come back to town all the time to identify your items. If you've just got a stack of them on you, you can sort of check the items on the fly. If it's not worth keeping, you can get rid of it. Yada yada yada. But there we go, let's see, contagion. And then if we kill them, it spreads. And then if we raise the dead, we will get, there we go. And there's your scorpions that will now infest other enemies as they attack them. And that's what we're talking about with the spreading the contagion. You see how you kill one, and as soon as one dies, it spreads, and then yeah, it annihilates. I say it's not very powerful against single powerful targets like bosses, but it is a good skill to clear a bunch of the little nobodies out your way. And this is why we basically keep above 90% resource like most of the time, because we're not spamming skills out like you do with some other characters. We just usually just hit them with one or two skills, and then we basically rely on the tick damage to mop them up. And obviously as we level up and we get more skills invested into damage and stuff like that, and more support gems and stuff, it will we will have much better mana regeneration, so we'll be able to keep that mana above 90% pretty much consistently. So we should almost always have the additional 30% damage active. That's where we want to be for the mission, so we're not going... Oh. We're not going to go in there just yet. There are other stuff that we want to do first. See, if you look on your... How do we open the map now? If you look on your map here, you see within this area we've got a chest we can open, a rare chest, and we've also got a skull. The skulls that have the little plus symbol, most of the skulls you've got a higher chance of getting rarer items for killing them, but the ones with a plus symbol, the first time you kill them you'll get a permanent buff to your character. So it could be, I don't know, simple example would be something daft like, say you kill you've got to play through the story twice basically. You do like normal mode and then chaos mode, which is like the horde mode basically. But yeah, so basically you'll kill them and you'll get a bonus. So it'll be like you kill this skull, and say first time you kill it you get something along the lines of, I don't know, let's say 5% fire resistance permanently. There's various different ones, but that's just an example. So wipe it out, there you go. Now that you've killed her, you've got a permanent 5% fire resistance buff on your character. So they are definitely worth doing. I wouldn't personally ignore them, would be my advice to you. Like, if you're passing through, it's definitely worth killing them. In fact, sometimes if you want to try and get your hands on some rarer items, you know, maybe try and get your hands on some nice weapon bonuses or armor bonuses, sometimes it's worth like purposely fighting those creatures, like going out your way to hunt them down on your way through. I would say it's definitely worth doing so because, you know, again, it's a permanent any permanent buff you can get is always obviously a good thing. So we've got to find that chest somewhere in this neighbourhood, and that weird chattering voice you can hear screaming away in the background there, that would be the skull in this area. That's the permanent buff you get for killing this witch up here. We're just gonna kill a couple of these nobodies so we can go into this fight with a slight buff on though. That's fine, we don't mind if she summons a couple of undead, because we can take advantage of that to raise more of his little scorpion guys. Ooh. Yeah, we've almost got her. She's as good as dead. And that's your permanent buff, so that's a 10% increase to cold resistance permanently. So there we go. It's not energy shield, it's just armor, but for now it'll do. It's an extra 10% cold resistance plus armor. More life and lightning resistance. Nice. It's never a bad thing to have. Thank you very much. And we've got a skill to throw in, so we'll go for the next one of them. So that's an extra 8% damage for both us and his minions. Again, useful. We haven't checked up here yet, so let's go see if we can find that chest. There should be a chest in this neighbourhood that we can open, which is definitely going to be worth doing. Even if it's just a support gem or another skill gem, it gives us more versatility, it's worth hunting. Let's have a couple more scorpions. That's not where we need to be. We'll go there later. Let's have more of them little scorpion guys running around. Which means the chest has got to be somewhere in this little corner we've yet to explore. There we go. That might have been it. We'll just finish checking off the rest of the area first. If for nothing else, just a quick run through. It's a little bit more XP on his travels. That, I believe, is what we're here for. Okay, it's not eating that corpse for some stupid reason. Well, we've got another
Skeletal
skill gem.
snipers do high damage but have low life. They can be commanded to fire an arrow of poison.
We'll take that. And we'll have one of those equipped. Skeletal snipers are good. They don't do a great deal of damage directly, but if you use its command skill, it'll fire an arrow up in the air that comes back down and then sort of spreads a poison cloud. Which you can use to either... we've got two of those. What we've got? Lightning resistance, maximum life. Ooh, more maximum life. More mana, strength. Yeah, we'll grab that one equipped, thank you. Yeah, the poison cloud, you can get some support gems later on that come in handy for that. You can have it break armor faster. If you break an enemy's armor, they take more damage from physical attacks. So basically all your minions and stuff like that. And even without that, just the ability to spread poison like that and inflict another tick all the time on enemies is always handy. Also, if you've got fire skills, you can hit that poison gas cloud with fire skills, and it'll cause an explosion that covers the entire gas cloud, so you can sort of like make a big explosion if you need to, which is quite handy. Bone wand. Probably not going to use that, to be fair. We'll stick with the chaos damage wand because we are going to be getting a lot of skills later that'll help out on the amount of chaos damage we can kick out. Ooh, scrolls of wisdom. We're not going to bother with a twig thing, 'cause that's more like an energy shield. It's more of like a focus for spell casting, but it's more defensive based. But we want the scepter because we want as much spirit as possible, so we can have more minions active. That's sort of our jam. A combination of minions and poison, so that's what we're going to stick with. Yep. More minion and spell damage. But as you can see what I mean with the contagion skill, it's better the more enemies they are to sort of bounce that poison between, the faster it kills them. It's really good crowd control. And we should be coming up to his next little boss fight.
What a pretty worm.
You and me have very different definitions of pretty, darling.
The tail. More mana.
That's fine, you can keep summoning your little minions, because that essentially just gives us more scorpions to throw at your ass. Woo! But depending on the style of character you build, you will find you tend to... You can cope in most situations, so you'll find ways of dealing with single target bosses like this when you get later skills, but different
The tail.
enemies or skills do tend to favour more certain play styles. Oh, okay, maximum mana, good, intelligence, good, and rarity of items found is very useful, because that means we're more likely to find rarer items
Skeletal
or
snipers.
items of a better quality.
Unearth is a physical area spell. If it... Monsters that die while infected with contagion...
We will upgrade the level of contagion, because that'll increase its damage and how long it lasts for. So we're definitely going to be taking that. And then as we start to get more... You start out with a few of those skill gems, but as you go through the game, you'll start finding, like towards mid-late game, you have so many of them skill gems, you've got more than you will ever use on a single character, so I'm not really worried about... I'm not really worried about using them, because we'll get more than enough. You are the same as the one we've got now, except for I think you summon level 2 skeletons as opposed to level 1. So we'll have you. just means the skeletal warriors will do slightly more damage. Granted, like I said, they're not really a damaging thing, they're more distracting. I know it's only a minute increase in damage that your skeletons will do, but any increase is better than none. Don't really care about that. These are handy because you can turn normal items to magic. I'll show you what all these do in a bit when we get back to town. Those items, you can sort of use them to increase the amount of prefixes and stuff that you've got on your existing stuff, depending on which item it is you've got. Some are a bit rarer than others, and some are more used for in-game currency. Like if you go to the in-game market, if you want to, you know, trade for items with other players, there's certain currencies that are more favoured than others. So my advice would be never sell them, never get rid of them, stockpile them in your box, and yeah. And even if you don't use them for trade, if you're one of those people that don't like to trade and you prefer to do everything yourself, you can use them, as I said, to upgrade your items, like turn a normal to a magic to a rare, increase the amount of prefixes that are on an item. So, yeah, even if you don't like to trade with other players and you want to do it all completely by yourself, it's still worth keeping. Don't sell them. Keep hold of all your items, like, because you can use them to upgrade stuff. We are missing one room. Sorry, I really don't like leaving maps. We are completely uncovering them. Not so much for loot. Later game maybe, but earlier game it's not really a loot thingy. It's more for XP. You know, any extra enemies that you can take out, it's that much closer to your next level up. Because level ups in this do matter. Trust me. Like when you get to certain bosses, you'll find like the difference in some boss fights you'll come across in terms of like how difficult it is, like being, you know, 5 levels below a boss as opposed to being the same level as a boss will make a huge difference in that fight. So there we go. I think we've opened all the eggs. That should be the last one of those little bonuses that we need. You only do health. That does maximum mana regeneration rate, maximum life, increased mana regeneration rate again. No, we're keeping that. We need mana. Mana is very important to this character. Most of this stuff, not so much. We can sell or break down mass majority of that, to be fair. Yeah, and now we've cleared the map, we can just use teleporter to teleport to checkpoint that's near exit. Yeah, those teleporters, once you've uncovered them, while you're still in that same area, you can use them to teleport sort of back and forth between. It's definitely worth doing. It's not like it's going to save you hours of gameplay, but, you know, more so later in game when you're doing loot runs and stuff like that, yeah, the ability to just zip around map quickly like that will save you a hell of a lot of time. Sort of, overall, you'll not really notice it.
Sorry, I was just...
per hour's gameplay as you're playing, but as you go through it, you will, when you're actually going through it overall, if you take it all the time you spent doing that versus all the time you would have spent running from point A to point B to point C, it will be a huge freaking difference.
Farewell,
Right,
hero.
and this way you want to keep all your currency. So you get like 10 of them, it'll turn into an orb of transmutation, which is one of those. But yeah, see what I mean? Look, you get stuff like this. This is why it's worth keeping hold. Look, so you get a normal item to a rare item. So any items we've got that are normal, we can transfer to a magic item, see? extra cast speed, +1 level to all minions, so now we've got level 3 skeletons. And then you get these ones that'll add an extra magic prefix, so now we've got plus more mana. Fawns, I'm not really bothered about so much. It's more useful on melee characters, like where our characters build as a rule, we want to be out of the way of conflict. That's what the minions are for. We will let the minions rush in, we sort of hang back and shoot. Fawns is more handy if you're playing a warrior style of character, because you're constantly thick as shit, you're always going to be getting hit, and Fawns basically, whenever somebody hits you, it will apply said amount of damage to whichever enemies physically hit you. So for a melee character, Fawns is useful. For our particular build, yeah, we can either take it or leave it. It's not really near there, to be honest with you. What level are we now? We are level 4. Okay. So then we go back through. We've got about another 15 minutes before we end the first episode, so we've probably got time to do a bit of exploration in the next zone. If I remember correctly, we found the Oak Vale Wood. It is up that direction. So we'll pop up there. Also, I'm a loot goblin. I pick up everything, but don't worry if you miss little bits of gold and stuff like that. Like 5 gold here, 5 gold there won't make a massive difference to you, because as you get later in game, again, you'll start doing loot runs in certain areas. You can rack up thousands of gold. It's not really something you're going to struggle with, I guarantee it. Oh, this is the new mechanic. This weren't in the last playthrough I did, because this is the Dawn of the Hunt new mechanic. So we'll speak to him and we'll.
Death and decay.
Hey, the hunt, are you? That makes 2 of us. Name's Delwyn. See that there? No, your eyes don't deceive you. That is the spirit, or at least a form of it. Don't worry, it means for us to follow. Approach, and the hunt begins. Ready? Go on then.
I believe how this mechanic works is, if I'm not mistaken, I've not played it yet, so this is just what I'm guessing from what I've been reading online. But what the gist of what I can get is basically, you follow that spirit, it will infect enemies with greater power. As you follow it, more enemies will get stronger, then it will choose a host. When you kill said host, which will get a lot stronger because obviously it's hosting the spirit, but when you kill it, it drops better loot, or it's got a better chance of dropping rare and more powerful loot. So definitely worth doing if you come across it. Speaking of which, let's follow it and see what we get.
Try and keep up. Don't lose sight of it.
Luckily for us, we have an advantage in the fact that we don't have to stand around to do damage to most enemies. Because we're relying on tick damage, we can just sort of hit and run. Oh,
Almost there. Don't give up now.
there we go, it shows its host.
None can oppose.
Don't lose focus. Down. Don't let up. That! Aye, you've the makings of a proper hunter. The spirit thanks ye, and so do I. If you've an interest in these hunts, stick around. We talk more. If we run enough of them, maybe we'll come to understand what the spirit wants of us. Aye, If you've an interest, we're running off of them.
Okay.
I've never known the spirit to manifest itself so openly. I'd tell of it aye, but even in the stories it weren't like this. Our elders spoke of a time when the spirit moved among us, seeking out Rathin, corruption in the modern tongue, and guiding our hunters to it so they could cleanse the land. Seems it's doing the same now, but more often, more urgent. Rathin's spreading, the spirit's calling us to act. Question is, will you answer?
Hey, dude. I am all about the loot, dude. If the spirit's gonna take me to loot, I'll answer.
Most wisps are small flickers of the spirit, drawn to Rathin like moths to flame. But some burn brighter and seek out only the strongest. You'll know them by their orange glow, bright as embers in the dark. They're not easy to bring down, but I reckon you can handle yourself.
And obviously we've got the advantage of having a small and dead army to back us, so yeah, we'll be fine. Right, this area, what have we got? So we've got 2 enemies to take out and a unique chest. Cool. We don't need the stuff, they're more for spell casting. We're relying mainly on poison damage again, so we're not really worried about those type of spells for the time being. Oh, we picked up some salmon evasion rating. We don't really care about that. Again, we want as a rule, we want armor and energy shield, or a hell of a lot of energy shields, one of the two. Energy shield as a rule is more useful for range damage like spells and stuff like that, so obviously that's where we're going to focus on most of our abilities, because again, our minions get up close and do all the fighting. We as a rule want to be hanging back and letting our minions do most of the physical aspect.
Too long, dear sister.
What's our armor again? More armor, maximum energy shield. No, we want that. Energy shield is more beneficial to us because again, we are melee skills. That's not really for us. We don't really use melee as a rule. However, they're both bigger than the flask we currently own, so we are going to equip them. Okay, here we go. Now we've got a support gem. We don't want that. That could be handy though, just not for this particular skill. That we want for the skeletal archer. That will basically mean now whenever we fire that poison arrow, a certain percentage of the overall poison damage will contribute towards breaking the enemy's armor. Like I said, if you break an enemy's armor, it takes a lot more physical damage, so that will be very beneficial to us. Okay, it's getting about that time for the end of this episode, so I'd like to thank everyone who stopped by and give it a watch and all that good stuff. You know, we always love the support of the community because you guys rock. So we'll head back to town now. I'll end stream, end the episode here. I'll head back to town, sell a load of stuff. The next time we get on, we will continue to clear this area. Find the skulls, the chests, and all that good stuff, and then we will crack on moving to the next big boss fight and I think there's 2 or 3 little mini boss fights that you get. I think one of them gives you a permanent boost, the other one gives you a chance of decent loot. So we're definitely going to hunt those 2 down. And then we've got I think it's 2 little mini bosses and then the next major boss fight. That we should be able to get all that done in the next episode. So again, thank you for watching, people. Please leave a like if you feel like doing so, if you like the content, if you find it entertaining in any way, shape or form. And I hope to see you in the next one. So until then, people, look after yourselves, have a good one, and I'll catch you later.